Hey everybody, thanks for all the likes and shares and comments. It helps me kind of gauge the interest and also see where to go next. So the improv thing seems to be of interest to everyone. So let's go through another stage of this. This stuff, by the way, you can work on all at different times. It's not necessarily linear. So sometimes some of the things that I'm going to talk about today will help some of the things that we did a couple weeks ago, like on the lower neighbors, upper neighbors, things like that. So, and you can always be combining these things, so it's not just one thing or the other. But it's good to get one concept down and then add to it or combine. So today let's talk about cadences and how we can like reinforce or even teach cadences from scratch with improvisation. One other note that we talked about last time on the triad and the inversions video was really have them play this with one hand. They can do right hand one pass, left hand another pass, so they get their technique started in both hands. But don't have them block chords and do this improv work, because as piano players we're horrible about using this as a crutch. So we want them to be able to do what horn players and singers do and do all this stuff without needing that as a crutch. That way they don't have to get off of that dependency later. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to take each of the chord tones and we're going to start a melody, a very simple melody from those chord tones. And all we're going to do is we're going to resolve those chord tones to the nearest chord tones of the next chord, the next part of the harmony, when it comes. And so what we'll do is, for example, we might start, if we're doing Twinkle Twinkle and F sharp, we'll move back to F sharp. So if we say start on the fifth note of the tonic, so if we're on sol, on the one chord it's sol, on the four chord I ask the student to move to the nearest note, the nearest note to sol in the four chord. So it's either going to be la or fa. So la or fa from the sol, each of them a whole step away. So they have a choice. And usually what I'll do is I'll have them choose the one that is not occupied by the main melody. So this is, pretend like this is the teacher, this is a duet part or some accompaniment track. If you're doing this solo at home, just record this and improvise along with it with the recording. So, or if you're teaching, you just play this and the student plays the other part. If you're the student, play this part, have your teacher play that. So, so we'll start on the fifth. Since the melody goes to la, I'm going to move to fa for the four chord. And then they share that for a second. And then the melody goes to fa, and I'm going to go to la. The five chord has sol in it, so we're just going to stay. It's really important to have the students find the common tones between chords. When the chords change, they really need to be able to find the common tones and know where they are. So staying in place is actually a really cool thing, especially long term. So you have that. Notice how once you get it, it turns into a rhythmic exercise, and I really encourage the students to try every possible rhythm they've ever learned. Triplets, quarter triplets, 16 notes, 8 notes, everything they can possibly think of, and combine those into something that's really musical. Okay, so then we would say start on the third. We start on the third. Our nearest note in the four chord will be mi to fa, so fa, if we're using solfege, the fourth scale degree. And then for the five chord, we also will go to the fa. That's the seventh of the 5/7. So it would be something like this. So you get the idea. So that's starting on the third. And then we'd say start on the root. So start on do, If it goes to the 4 chord, we have our common tone. These are really valuable, so we really want to make sure we have that. So the tonic is do, 4 chord is do, and then the 5 chord, it just moves down a half step to T. So it's something like this. So you get the idea. So that's the whole triad. And so from there you can start combining them. And you can be as strict or as loose as you want to be. Sometimes I'll start really loose and just say you can do whatever as long as you try and use those resolutions. And then we tighten it up and say you're only allowed to use those resolutions. So it may, I don't know, I haven't messed with this, but it may be. So that's an example of how you can voice lead through this. And that's the key word, voice leading. You want to learn to voice lead. The other thing that they're really learning here that's super valuable is they're learning to hear the harmonic rhythm and not just the melodic. Kids are usually, we're all pretty good at hearing this. Clap that rhythm back, we have it. But a lot of us struggle with, wait, when does the chord actually change? A lot of students will get distracted and hear that note change and they'll want to change chords with it. So this is teaching them how to like hear the harmonic rhythm and how it relates to the melodic rhythm, so they switch chords at the right time. This really helps for memorization, performance things as well. So you'll start to see benefits of this in other areas other than just this improvisation thing. So hopefully this helps. This is really fun usually for the students to kind of explore this and just keep it really simple. You don't need to be in a rush to add on to just those guide tones. Change keys, do it in all 12 keys before you have them start going crazy with their own melodies. This will help them in ways that we just can't even imagine. And it'll help each type of student and each type of player differently because of our personalities and how we're wired. So hopefully this helps and you enjoy it, and I'll try and keep bringing more if you like them. Thanks.